Hey guys, SoberOni with G&A Reviews here, and of course, you know I had to do a NeroFest video. For those of you who do not know, Nero is actually my favorite servant. I love Nero, I love the Fate Extra series, so of course I had to do this. And of course it's a guide, so this is going to be a guide to the first major event of the US release for Fate Grand Order, which is NeroFest. It's the same first major event from the Japanese version, or at least that's what we're going on. It looks to be the same, so maybe some things might be switched around. I really doubt it. It looks, based on the information that we have, to be just a carbon copy of the original event from 2 years ago in the Japanese version, which is fine by me because it was a fantastic event. It's a really fun first event, and you can look forward to a lot of interesting things going on. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to go over, I guess, the premise of the event. I'm also going to talk about strategies for the event, servants that I recommend you use. We're going to have a brief overview. I'm not going to go too in-depth. For those of you who don't want to see spoilers and stuff, I'm not going to go specifically into who the final boss is or what the final thing of the event is. I will just give an overall strategy over servants you might want to take with you, things to look out for, just some tips and tricks there. But for those of you who do want a more in-depth analysis, I will actually be putting up it won't be a live stream, but it'll be a complete playthrough of the event. I'll probably post that on Friday or Saturday during the weekend. And it'll just be me playing through the event, so you can obviously see what the challenges are, who you're going to have to face, and all of that. And while I'm playing, of course, I'll give some tips on what to do here, what to do there, what servants work best. But this is just a brief overview and what you can expect from that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So this event, as you can see, NeroFest is, the premise behind it is Nero puts together a festival, of course, Coliseum style. You're going to bring your team and you're going to face off. You're going to start from the bottom and work your way all the way to the top of the kind of a gladiator style games, facing other AI controlled teams. For the most part, the teams that you're facing scale well with the difficulty, so you're going to be starting off against rather easy opponents, and then as soon as you work your way up, you're going to fight like the all-star cast of servants. Along the way, you're going to be collecting 3 different medals, and this is common for events. Usually events have their own currency, whether that be, in this case, there's silver, gold, and bronze medals. Certain other events will have things like rice cakes or just points you earn for a ladder, etc., etc. But usually every event has its own currency, and you collect X amount of that currency, and you can trade it into the shop. So every event has a shop that sells items that you can trade for using the event currency. And the event currency you get from playing the event. So you'll be able to redo levels that you beat and basically farm for whatever currency you can get, and then trade that into the shop and this is really the best way to farm items. A lot of people have been asking, well, what's the best way to get, Ascension materials for each servant? Or what's the best way to get, these items? The best way to get items to ascend your servants and all of that is through events. It honestly is, because the drop rates for the maps are pretty low. So if you need something like 5 or 6 dragon teeth to ascend your servant, you're going to be playing that map a lot. And I think, certain maps have a drop rate of like probably 5% or something like that. You can either do that, or you can just wait for an event that sells the Ascension items you need to roll around, and then you can buy like 30 of them in the shop, which tends to be better, a better use of your AP and a better use of your time. So unless you just need like 1 or 2, items to drop, I don't suggest farming them in the world map. I suggest just waiting for the event to pop up. So as you can see in this event, gold, silver, and bronze medals is what you're going to be collecting. Obviously the bronze is the lower of the currencies, probably easiest to farm. Silver is the intermediate, and gold is the hardest material that there is to farm. And of course, because it's NeroFest, we have to have all these teams with all the different flavors. I really love how Fate Grand Order does this. They kind of like add a lot of flair to the event by not just throwing together random teams, but all the teams have kind of a theme going for them. Like you can see There's Jeanne d'Arc, and then you have Giles there. So obviously, there's a team there by the white flag. You have the three heroes of China in Lubu, Jin Kei, and Zhuge Liang. And then, of course, you have the divas with beautiful voices, plus one. Obviously, a play on Liz not having the best voice. I love that's like my favorite team name. But so all these teams follow a generic, well, not generic, but all these teams follow a kind of a pattern. They have a theme going for them. So that was the easy mode teams. You can see that the intermediate team has the, muscle language team with Spartacus, Leonidas, and Darius. You have the by the black flag, which is obviously the dark Jeanne and the dark Giles, well, quote unquote dark Giles. And then you have Battle of Gojo Bridge, which you have your three Japanese servants with Ushi, Benkei, and Sasaki. And then you have the girl next door, which again another favorite team name of mine with Tamamo Cat, Martha, and Boudica. And then finally you have the All-Stars, the advanced team, and you can clearly see as where the other teams kind of had a mix of 3 and 4 stars. These teams are right off the bat. Knight's Oath, you have Saber, Alter, and Lancelot. That is a killer team. Good luck facing them. They're very difficult. You have Glorious Rome with the 3 Roman servants. You have Gorgon Island with the 3 Gorgons, and we have Common Secret. I don't really get why Mephistopheles and Medea are there, but Hassan is obviously an assassin. He's in secret, so you have that team set up. So that's the advanced, and the way that the event is broken up is that each section starts on different days. So the first team, which is kind of the easier ones, is going to be between July 25th and July 28th. Then you're going to be the intermediates between July 28th and July 31st. And then the expert teams are July 31st to August 3rd. So I guess I'm gonna live stream. Well, not live stream. I'm gonna upload videos of me completing each section as it occurs. Events also have a craft essence associated with them. Actually, a lot of craft essences come from events. This craft essence, the limited craft essence for this event, is the Nightless Rose, which is a Nero craft essence, a 5-star craft essence. The only way to get this is to buy it from the shop by trading in the medals, or if you're super lucky, it can drop from the event itself. The drop rate for these craft essences is obscenely low. I think it's somewhere around 1%, maybe less, maybe more, but in all the time I've been playing this game, I can count the amount of times a craft essence dropped from an event on one hand. It's super rare. Some people can farm it. I mean, if you want to farm for the craft essences, you can do that. It's just really, really, really rare to get them to drop. Nevertheless, Nightless Rose, as far as event-specific craft essences go, isn't that bad. It's not amazing. It's definitely not really a 5-star craft essence, but it gives a servant guts, so if they die, they get revived with 500 HP one time. It's not that bad. It's not amazing. I guess it works really well on berserkers, if you don't want them to die. There are actually certain servants who benefit from having low HP. They're not really out yet, but in the future there are a couple of servants who, the lower their HP, the higher attack damage they do on their Noble Phantasm stuff. So this might come in handy later on, but for now it's worth it to just stick it on the berserker, just to give them that extra bit of insurance. So this chart will tell you how many medals you need to clear the shop. So if you want to clear everything in the shop, you want to buy all the items in the shop, you're going to need 300 bronze medals, 400 silver medals, and 1100 gold medals. The gold medals are usually the hardest to get, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but you can also see what items specifically are going to be sold in the shop here. So usually the shop items are more expansive than this. I think just because this being the first event, they don't want to give too much away, but usually the shop includes a lot more Ascension items. They'll include like pieces to ascend servants with, like saber pieces and archer pieces, etc., etc., and like actual Ascension items like the dragon teeth, the undead bones. But for the first event, you can buy 20 3-star experiences, which isn't bad. If you have a servant that's new, go for it. I typically don't buy the 3-star experiences, but there's no reason not to, especially because the shop this time around is so limited, you might as well just clear it out. It won't be too difficult. Next up, you have the Year Horseshoes, which there are 10 of. Of course, this is an Ascension item. This is a must-buy. You have the Ancient Gears, or I guess they're called Eternal Gears here. Another must-buy. Anything that's an Ascension item is a must-buy. You have to buy these Ascension items. Trust me, you'll be thanking me later. They come so much handy. You never know when you're going to need them, so why not have them in stock? You can also trade in 10 bronze medals for 1 silver. Usually, there's a lot of trade-in systems built into these events. It's usually not worth it to trade. I mean, it's easier to just farm silver medals than it is to farm bronze medals to trade in the silver medals. It's just not worth it's not as efficient. With the silver medals, you can of course buy 4-star gold experience, which I recommend. It's the quickest way to level your servant. You can get 20 of those. And then of course you have more Ascension items. You have the 10 forbidden pages, absolutely must buy. And you can buy the craft essence with silver medals. So definitely buy the craft essence if nothing else, because they're so limited. You're never going to be able to get this craft essence outside of this event. And then finally we have the gold medals. Again, another Ascension item there with the homunculus baby. Go ahead and buy that as quickly as possible. You can also get a crystallized lore. Now, crystallized lores are actually used to max out skills. They're limited in quantity, just like the grails are. They're usually tied to events. You can usually get like 1 or 2 or 3 per event. And their sole purpose is to get any skill from level 9 to level 10. All skills from 9 to 10 require 1 crystal lore. So it's good to have as many of these as possible, because you never know what skills you're going to max out. And then of course you can buy another 2 craft essences, which I don't think is completely necessary, but again, if you have the resources, why not? You know, it's a limited shop this time around, so go for it. And then if you're just overflowing with gold medals, which I don't imagine you will be, but if you are, you can trade them in for 100,000 QP per 10 medals. If you're overflowing with medals and you want to farm QP, go for it. I still think the best way to farm QP is through the daily QP quest. That's just the most efficient way to do it. Along with the event, there is going to be a special gacha for unique servants, which, again, every event has its own gacha with special rate-ups per servant. This is the Nero gacha, so of course there's a rate-up for Nero. There is also a rate-up for Altera. There's a rate-up for Julius Caesar, and there's a rate-up for Romulus. Now let me define what a rate-up means. So, a rate-up doesn't mean that if, for example, you have a 5-star Altera. She has a 1% chance to drop, or to roll in the gacha. When she's on rate-up, that does not mean that she has a 2% chance to come out of the gacha. What it means is there's still just a 1% chance to draw a 5-star, but in the event that you do draw a 5-star, you do get lucky enough to have that 1% chance of drawing a 5-star, the chances are it's going to be Altera, because she's on rate up. It's not guaranteed. You can still get a 5-star, and it can still be like Vlad or something like that, or Waver. It's just that the greater chances are it will be Altera. And trust me, there are tons of horror stories where it happened to me recently, where I was rolling for a servant that was a 5-star, and I just got like 3 other 5s, which, I mean, it sounds horrible. I mean, it sounds like a joke, like, whoa, you got 3 5-stars? Whoa, so sorry to be you. But yeah, they weren't the ones I wanted, and that one that I wanted was on rate up, so it's kind of like, ugh, kill me now. But what are the odds that, you know, you get all these servants that aren't the one you want, while the one you want is on rate up? But chances are, so it's a 1% chance to get a 5-star, and if you do get that 1% chance, I don't know what the exact number is, maybe 50% chance that it's going to be Altera versus another 5-star. But suffice it to say, it's still really hard to get a 5-star servant. But if they're on rate up, is your best chance to get them ever before. I personally will be rolling for Nero. I did want to do a servant spotlight on her. I'm so far behind in that series, which, by the way, will be out possibly later on. I just fell behind this weekend, but I do want to do one on Nero soon, because, I mean, it's her event, so we have to do a Nero one. But I'll definitely be rolling for her. If you're rolling for her, or if you're rolling for Altera, I wish you the best of luck. It's really hard to get them, but good luck to anyone rolling. It's not a servant spotlight, but I will say that Altera is really good if you do get her. Nero currently is really good as a 4-star saber. She isn't the best 4-star saber. Obviously that goes to Alter. She isn't the worst either. She's kind of middle of the road, very niche as an art saber. I personally am rolling for her because I love Nero, not because she's necessarily really strong in terms of gameplay. So if you're looking for a strong saber, well, I would say roll this gacha anyway because you have a chance of getting Altera, who's a strong saber. But if you're looking for a strong 4-star saber, Nero necessarily isn't the one. I would say save it for the Alter rate up. She's far better. But if you are like me and you love Nero, go for it. As I always advocate, play the servants you love. Roll for the servants you love. Don't worry about... I mean, if you want to worry about gameplay, go for it, but personally, I find it's a lot more enjoyable to play the servants that I personally like. Now, as far as tips go for this event, there is more to this event than what's on the banners, more to it than just what teams you see are on the easy, intermediate, and expert level quest. Trust me, there's a few curveballs in this. I will mention that in the Japanese version, 2 years ago, I recall there were certain servants who would abuse the hell out of their skills. Not sure if that was a bug or if it was intended, but it was super difficult to beat some of these events. Servants like I remember there was a big issue with Marie Antoinette just abusing invincibility. Like, she would use invincibility every turn because AI doesn't have to deal with cooldowns. So, like, I think there was like an 80% chance every turn of her just making herself invincible, which obviously is game-breakingly, like, you would just need to be lucky at that point. So, I don't know if that's going to be the case in this one. I don't know if it was a bug or if it was intended, but be aware that the AI is very cheap with their skills. They are very liberal with their skill usage. They're going to abuse the hell out of all their skills, and it can, sometimes make it very difficult. So I would say if you know there's a servant that has a skill like dodge or invulnerability, and you're fighting them, whenever they do not use that skill, make sure to wail on them. Kill them before anyone else, otherwise it's going to be a nightmare when they're the only one left, and they get 3 or 2 attacks, and they're just going to spam their skill as much as possible. I would also recommend definitely having a strong berserker. You're not going to be able to have enough servants to deal with everything. If you see the lineup, there's some teams that have like an archer, a lancer, and a saber or something like that. You're not going to have another strong archer, lancer, and saber team to beat them necessarily. It's far easier if you just have a strong berserker that deals, increased damage to everyone. So if you got Hercules, use Hercules. If you have Vlad, use Vlad. Even if you have Tamamo Catch, can come in handy. So I would say invest a lot in berserkers. Have a good berserker supported by a good team, and that's your key to really winning a lot of these events. Strong berserker with a strong support structure around it. Other than berserkers, I know this is going to kind of sound weird, but the best thing you can have for this event, if you don't have a berserker, or if you do, the next best thing is you need Joan, you need a ruler, because she's just invaluable during this event, because she can make your whole team invincible for a turn. That's really going to come in handy when, you're fighting someone and you can't stop them from getting their Noble Phantasm. So you have to be able to protect your team. So somebody like Joan, or anyone who can give invincibility, or anyone who has a dodge on them or an invincibility on them, like Ku, for example, is really, really strong in this event. And then after that, prioritize your support. So people who can buff, people who can heal. Hans Andersen is pretty strong for this event because he can buff ally attack and defense by a large margin, and he's really easy to get from the friend point gacha, so you should really have him by now, and if not, trust me, he's worth having. He's really strong. You'll see him when I do my 3-star and below video for free-to-play players, but he's probably one of the best supports you can get. And he's really useful in events like this because you need to be able to kill servants as quickly as possible, and you need to be able to use your Noble Phantasm, and you need to be able to take a few hits. So supports like him are crucial. So again, can't stress it enough, you're going to want a strong Berserker, you're going to want someone who can keep you alive or dodge hits, like Joan or Ku, and you're going to want a strong support like Hans to really buff up your team and get them putting out as much damage as possible, or keeping them alive as much as possible, or charging their Noble Phantasm as much as possible. Also, you're not any less of a player if you use command seals. Just make sure you use them wisely. I always save my 3 command seals for something I know I need them for. So if you take an L but you know you could have beaten it without using command seals, then just try it again. Otherwise, yeah, there are parts in this event where you probably are really going to need to use your command seals, and I don't want to spoil it. We'll talk about it when I do my rundown of the event, but there is a certain challenge in this event at the end where I cannot fathom winning without a command seal, and I think that's the best advice I can give for this event. Have fun rolling the gacha, have fun doing this event, guys. It's a really fun event. Look forward to a couple more videos coming out this week. Definitely going to put out that free-to-play video with the 3-star and lower servants, who are definitely worth checking out. I do want to do a next Spotlight video. It's going to be on Hercules because he's been requested so much. After that, might be between Vlad and Altera. So let me know between those two who you guys like more or you want to see more. And other than that, just let me know what you guys want to see in the comments. Let me know how you guys are doing in the events. If you need any advice one-on-one, just leave a comment below. I'll be sure to help you out. And other than that, alright, that's all I got to say. Hope you have a good time during this event, guys. Talk to you later. Peace.